videos, but I'll get them. Hi, CE. This is Miss Clark, and we want to introduce you to Mr. Rubin Pingk. And
Hello.
he's the author of Samurai Santa, and he's going to Google Hangout with us today and share a little bit about his background and answer some of our questions that we've had. So, Mr. Pingk, I'll let you begin.
Okay. Hello, Castleberry. Can you see me? Hello. That's a lot of people. My goodness, now I'm going to be nervous. So, I'm going to share a screen with you today because I have something I want to share. So, bear with me. I'm not the best at technology sometimes. Okay, can you guys see my little guy? All right. That's me without a beard. That's a little cartoon me. So he's gonna be with us during this presentation. And what I want to talk to you today is about starting something small and the power of doing things every day. It's one of the most powerful things you can do. People talk about Superman and the Flash and the Hulk and stuff like that. But one of the most powerful things you can actually do in life is to practice something every single day. So that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about. And we'll talk about ninjas and Santa and lots of fun stuff. I saw someone wave to me. Hello. Okay, so this is a little bit about me. I have two jobs. During the day, I have a day job working for the government, and that means I work with contracts and numbers and all kinds of fun stuff like that. And then at night, I get to be an artist and an illustrator and a writer and an author and all those fun names that gets applied to people that make stuff. And so at night, I pretty much make stuff. And this is a little story about why I decided to start making stuff. So in 2010, that was 6 whole years ago, some of you weren't even in school yet, I decided I was going to draw every single day, and I was not going to miss a day. I didn't care if I was sick or in a bad mood or what my responsibilities were. I was going to make sure I got some drawing done that day. So in 2010, I got every single day done. I drew every day, 365 days in a row. And then 2011 came along and I did it again, another 365 days. And then in 2012, I actually did 366 days because it was a leap year. And then in 2013, I got all the way to October, to the 10th month. And then this happened. The government shut down. That's a government building, and that's where I work. I work for the government. So all of a sudden, my day job went away. And all I had to do was my nighttime stuff, my art and my writing and things like that. So I felt a little bit sad, kind of like this guy. Can you see him on the screen? He looks sad, doesn't he? I felt like him. I didn't know what to do. I like going to work every day and drawing at night. And suddenly I didn't have a day job to go to for a while. But remember, I had been drawing every day. And so I had these sketches of ninjas and stuff. And I decided I was going to make a book. I will make a book. But I'd never made a book before. Books are kind of scary. They're big things. You know, there's a lot to do when you're making a book. So I had to break it down. Remember, part of my presentation is called Start Small. So let's look at what a book really is. I'm going to share another screen. Let's see if you guys can see this. Okay, can you see a little screen on there? Okay, so I thought about what a book was, and I decided that I could break it down into little parts. Who can tell me what that is? A line, a diagonal line. That's right. It's a line. That's all it is. It's just a line. And I thought, well, if you add another one or two, now what do I have? A. An A, that's right. And an A is a letter. Now what if I add one of these and one of these? Now what do I have? Cat. And what is cat? It's a word. It's a word, huh? So what if I add a couple others? The cat meowed. That's a sentence. I heard somebody say sentence. I can see a hand held up right there. I bet you he was going to say sentence. So now I have a sentence. Okay, here's where it gets tricky, guys. What happens if I put a whole bunch of sentences together? What's that called? A paragraph. You guys are so smart. And what happens? Okay, it's going to get even trickier. Let's say I take a whole bunch of those paragraphs and put them on a single thing. What is that called? Story. We're not to a story yet. What if it's just, it starts with a P. It's a page. Did somebody say page? That's right. Okay, here we go. What if I take a whole bunch of pages and I put a number on it? Then what is that called?
Chapter.
Oh, who said chapter? That's a good answer. That's what it is. Okay, and here's the last part. Let's say I take a whole bunch of chapters and I put those together between two covers. Then what have I made? A story or a book. That's right. So really, if you think about it, I'm just going to undo what you're seeing here. If I go back, all the way back, and take away the words and the letters, a story is a whole bunch of lines put together between covers. And I thought, okay, if I think of it like that, I can read anything and I can make anything. Because I can make lines. I've been practicing making lines for years, right? All right, let me go back to my presentation. This might be a little tricky here. Hello. Okay, so now that I'd broken down a book, I decided I needed a recipe. Who knows what a recipe is? What's a recipe?
Oh, just a second. Hey, raise your hand. I'll call on a couple to tell it. Okay, here we go.
A list of things what you need to do.
A list of things for what you need to do.
That is the most perfect answer I've ever heard. And I have told this to a lot of classes, and that is just so succinct and perfect. Thank you. A list of things telling me what I need to do, right? It can tell me how to bake a cake. It can tell me how to change the oil in my car. That's right. A recipe is a list of things telling me what I need to do. Okay, so here is my recipe for doing everything. I call it How to Make a Book or Anything Really. Now, this is going to seem really simple to you, and you're going to think that maybe I'm a little silly for just having these 4 steps. But I'm telling you, a lot of adults my age and older don't do these things. Here's what you do. Step 1, you start. You got to start. Step 2, you got to do some more. Step 3, you keep going. And that's where you get really good. If you can make it to step 3, I don't care what it is you're trying to do. If you can get to step 3, you're going to start getting good at whatever it is. And step 4, you have to redo the bad stuff because not everything's perfect, right? So there's a reason why people don't do these things. You know how Captain America and Superman, they have enemies? Well, these 4 steps have enemies. I'm going to tell you what they are so you know how to fight them, okay? So the enemy to starting something is called, it's a big word, a new word for you, procrastination. Does anybody know what procrastination means?
Oh,
I see some hands.
What do you think? Can you say it loud?
I think procrastinate.
What does that mean though? What does procrastinate mean?
Do you want me to just tell you? Okay. It's a big word. I just learned it yesterday. Procrastination is when you say, I'll do it later, or I'll do it tomorrow. It's when you put off something that you could do right now until later, even though you could do it right now. That's procrastination. And that's why people don't start. They get this big idea and this big dream and they think, this would be the coolest thing if I did this. And then they said, well, maybe I'll start on Monday after the weekend. And then Monday comes and they don't do it on Monday. And then weeks and months and years pass by and they don't get it done. That's the enemy to starting something. All right, the enemy to doing more. Let's say that you did start. You started something and now you're on step 2. You're doing some more. Now you're going to find a new enemy. And the enemy to doing more is frustration. Frustration is when you get angry. Oh, you guys know. I see hands up. Okay, go ahead. Tell me. Sally will have to pick someone.
Miss Lauber, tell us. Tell me. Yes. Say it. Yes. Okay, she said it's whenever you do something and you just get it wrong and you get all frustrated and mad.
That's exactly right. It's when you do something and you just get frustrated and mad at it. And the reason people run into this enemy at step 2 is because when you start something, sometimes you're not the best at it because you're just starting, and that's okay. When I first started art, I'm going to show you the first thing I drew in 2010 when I decided I was going to go every day, and how much better I got. But when I first started, I wasn't very good, and I'll tell you, I got frustrated, and that's why people stop on step 2. That enemy, frustration, it gets in the way, and then people quit. Okay, the enemy to step 3, keep going. Keep going, step 3. This is where you guys will get really good. If you can make it to step 3 and you keep going, you're going to get good at whatever it is. If it's basketball, you're going to get good at making those shots. If it's art, you're going to get good at drawing those pictures. If it's piano, you're going to get good at playing those keys. It doesn't matter what it is. If you can make it to step 3, you're going to start getting good. And this is a weird enemy. It's a weird one, but I'm going to show it to you. Satisfaction. Satisfaction and just being happy with what you're doing is the enemy to keep going, because some people, they think they've done enough. They don't finish the project. A project's not done until it's done. And some people, they feel like they did enough and they don't get to the end because they're satisfied with their effort. And that's a weird enemy, I know, but there's an old saying not to rest on your laurels. Does anybody know what a laurel is? I'll tell you what a laurel is. Have you ever seen a Greek or a Roman person with those leaves on their head?
Yeah.
Those leaves are called laurels, and you got those laurels when you accomplish something. When you did something neat, or you got elected to office, or you won a war, you got to wear those laurels. And so people would rest on their laurels. That means they would stop trying to do neat things because they'd already done it. And so that is the enemy to keep going. You can't rest on your laurels. You got to keep going. That's why that step's called keep going. All right, the last enemy. This is one that I got and a lot of people got. Redo the bad stuff. You're always going to have to redo something. I still do, and I'm 36 years old, and I'm still redoing stuff. That's why I have an editor when I make my books. The enemy is ego or pride. And ego is when somebody says, I don't need to change a thing because I'm already good at whatever it is I just did, right? They don't want to take correction. They don't want to respell a word. They don't want to redraw a picture or try again. And so the enemy to the final step is redo the bad stuff. But guess what? If you can beat all 4 of these enemies and follow these 4 steps, you can do anything. Anything you want to learn or do, you can do it. If you can do these 4 steps, start, do some more, keep going, and redo the bad stuff. And there's lots of adults still trying to figure this out. All right, I see some kids coming in. I'm excited. Hello.
They made it.
Welcome. Okay, let's keep going. So this is the first sketch of Samurai Santa that I drew. This is way before the book. This is years and years and years ago. Some of you probably hadn't started school yet. And this is the finished book. Do you think I had to redo some things? Let's go back. This was the first one. And this is the finished one. See, on this one, you can just see Santa's leg, huh? And a whole bunch of scribbly ninjas. And the background's not red, it's gray. And on this one, you have bigger letters and Santa's on the cover and the ninjas are bigger. I had to redo it. My editor told me to redo the cover. And so this is what I did. Okay, so then a whole bunch of things happened. We'll go really fast over this part. I got an agent. An agent is somebody who tries to sell the stuff I make to people that will put it out in the world. And then the book went to auction and it sold to a publisher called Simon & Schuster. And they gave me a 2-book deal. That means I get to make Samurai Santa and another book. And then I finished the book with the editor and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I felt amazing. I'll show you how I felt, like this guy. See that guy? That's how you feel when you finish something. And that is how I felt when I finished a book. And I decided, okay, I finished a whole book. Now I want a book trailer. Who knows what a movie trailer is? All right, so Lee will pick somebody. Who can tell me what a movie trailer is?
A movie trailer is before it comes out, and it's just telling you little sneak peeks about what's gonna be about.
That's exactly right. It's a preview of what it just shows you a little bit of what's coming out, huh? So there's movie trailers and now there's book trailers, and all the coolest artists and all the coolest authors that I knew had book trailers, and I wanted a book trailer. So I started asking around, and who can guess how much a book trailer was going to cost me?
$1,000.
Not 1,000, not 5,000. More than that.
They're thinking 10,000 is what.
$10,000 is exactly right. $10,000. Do you know what I could do with $10,000? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you real quick. Here's what I could do with $10,000. Can you see that? I could get me that nice truck. That would be $10,000. I love that truck. I could take my whole family to Hawaii for $10,000. I know. Or, you know, I could probably buy a unicorn on eBay. That is what you can do with $10,000. So you know what I felt like? I felt like this. I was bummed out. 10,000 bucks. I didn't want to spend $10,000 on 1 minute of animation. I didn't want to do it. But then I remembered my recipe. Do you remember my recipe? Start, keep going, do some more, and redo the bad stuff. If I do that with a video, maybe I can make a video just like I made a book. Maybe. So I tried it. And first I broke it down. Remember I broke down a book and do a bunch of lines between covers? I had to break down the pieces. Sometimes you got to break things down. So I knew I needed some software. Software is like Microsoft Word or Microsoft Paint, something that allows you to do stuff on the computer. I needed something that would turn my drawings into animation, into cartoon. And I needed sound effects. Sound effects are like pow, bang, pop, right? And I needed music because you can't use other people's music. You have to make your own music or you get in trouble. And I needed to record my voice. So I did all those things and put them together. And what did I get? All right, I'll show you. So Lee's going to show you what it was.
Just 1 second. Let me get on. This is great. We didn't preload them in this one, so it may take me 1 second to get going.
Okay. Hello, I see you waving.
All right, can you still hear us, Mr. Pingk?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can. Okay. We just finished watching.
Okay. Are you back to my PowerPoint? Can you see my little picture?
Yes.
Okay, so that video saved me $10,000 because I used my recipe, and that's how I got a unicorn. So after that, I had to do a bunch of other stuff I'd never done before. I had to make online advertisements like the one you're seeing. I had to make postcards like these two things. I had to make posters. I had to take pictures of people. That's my son, Fred. See him in the glasses? I had to make pictures to put in places to advertise it. I'd never done any of these things before, but I remembered my recipe. If I start doing it and I keep going and do some more and redo the bad stuff, I can do really cool things, and so can you. So in the end, I had this awesome Samurai Santa book, and that's the story of how I made it. Now I want to show you something neat. This here, on the left side, you'll see that scribbly guy sitting on the weird ball. That was the first thing I drew in 2010. And then 365 days later, that's just 1 year, 1 school year, I drew the one on the right. Do you think I got better?
Yes.
I did, because I practiced every day, and that's just 1 year. And the reason I don't show you how good I could draw it today is because it would melt your faces off. I'm so much better after 6 years of doing this that I don't even dare to do it. So I'm just showing you 1 year of progress. This is how many days in a row I have drawn. That's a little over 6 years. Now, I didn't start till I was 30 years old. I was old when I started doing this every day. Imagine what you guys could accomplish by 30 if you started now. You would be amazing, incredible. You would make me look silly. So here's some quotes I like, okay, really quick, and then we'll do some questions. I write when I'm inspired, and I see to it that I'm inspired at 9 o'clock every morning. That's by William Faulkner, and that means the moods don't get in the way. Mood is not as important as discipline and showing up and getting it done. So this guy, William Faulkner, the writer, showed up at 9 o'clock every morning to get his writing done. And the second quote is, those who write are writers, and those who wait are waiters. And I would change it just a little bit. Those who do are doers, and those who don't are don'ters. Even though that's not a word, I like it. Okay, so remember my formula. Start, do some more, keep going, redo the bad stuff, and most importantly, stay positive, like that battery right there. He's pointing to the positive part of his head. Stay positive, guys. That is my presentation. Now let's do some questions. How do you want to do this, Celine?
All right, so we have a few on Twitter. Real quick, I'll ask you, and then while you're answering them, I'll get the video ready for the few questions that we have recorded. But first we have, let's see, Brian in Miss Cervantes' class wants to know, why did the ninja attack Santa?
Okay, so the ninjas, if you remember, were really sleepy, and they're trained to react to the gong. When that gong gets hit, bong, 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 that's the alarm that there's an intruder. And so they were just waking up, and they just chased the bright red intruder. That's what they thought he was, a bright red intruder. So they weren't awake enough yet to really think about what they were doing. And then a samurai came along, and they never knew Santa was there. What's the next question?
All right. The next one is Bill in Miss Hewitt's class wants to know if you had any help writing the book or if you did it all by yourself.
I did it all by myself at first, and then I looked for help. I hired a local editor named Lori Class, and she helped me edit the book down, and she told me I needed to make it shorter, and I didn't listen. So then when the book got sold to Simon & Schuster, they told me to make it shorter, and I had to listen. But yes, I had an editor that helped me, my agent helped me, and a local editor that I hired that doesn't work for Simon & Schuster helped me. But the first time I did it all myself, all the art and all the writing, and then they helped me make it better.
One of our fifth grade classes wants to know, what will your second book be about?
Oh, okay. Let's do a screen share on this one. This is what I want to be my second book. Now, the way this works is Simon & Schuster has to pick what the second book is. They have the right to pick whatever I'm working on. So this is what I want it to be, but this doesn't mean what it will be. But this is what I'm working on right now to pitch to them. A pitch is when, like in a baseball, right? You pitch the ball, and someone has to hit it. So when I pitch the book, they have to either accept it or reject it. So I'll show you what I'm working on real quick. Let me see here if I can find it. Okay, can you see? This book is called Night of the Ninja, a Halloween haiku. And a haiku is a type of writing that has 5 syllables that sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 7 syllables, then 5 syllables. I want to do a whole story about ninjas in haiku on Halloween. So that's what I'm working on. And I've got 2 pages done. One is a cover concept. A concept is something that isn't the final product, is something that is an idea for the final book. And I have an inside page, a title page of ninjas hiding behind trees with pumpkins and leaves. That's what I want to be my second book. What's the next question?
All right, let me go to the video real quick.
Okay.
Teachers, I just want to remind you that if you have questions, you can tweet them to hashtag PINGK rocks, and they will come up for us to ask him. But let me get to the video real quick. Let's see. There it is. And let me.
How many books are you going to write?
Okay. Can you see me?
Yes.
The first question was, how many books am I going to write? I'm going to write as many books as I can make before I have to retire, which is, I hope, a lot. I don't know. That depends on how many books you guys read. If you read more books, I'll write more books.
Oh, wait, they said 3,000 years, please.
All right. I'll work on it.
Yeah. All right, next question. Did you hear that one?
I didn't.
He
What did it
said-
say?
He said, are you going to write a Batman versus Superman one?
Oh, okay. Let me see here. Let me find my little picture. So I'm not going to write Batman versus Superman unless they hire me to write it. But I do like Batman and Superman, and so I drew this picture. Can you see Batman versus Superman there?
We can. That looks awesome. All right, next question.
Okay.
All right, guys. Here we go. He said, how do you write books every day? But I think you kind of told us with your recipes.
I did. I just do it every day. I show up and the books just happen. If you show up to the page, it'll get done.
All right, here's the next one. She wants to know if you can make a girl ninja book.
Okay, so in this book that I showed you, Night of the Ninja, it features a little girl ninja named Kimiko. It's Yukio's little sister, and she is so smart. You guys will have to see when you read the book. But yes, there will be a girl ninja in the next book.
Yay. Okay, here's the next one. Did you hear that one?
I
He said,
didn't.
what do you use to color your pictures?
Okay, I use a program called Manga Studio. I'll show it to you really quickly. So this thing that I was drawing lines in is what I use to color my pictures. And I'll just draw a little ninja for you really quick. So here's how you draw a ninja. You make kind of a bean shape. And you give him a little eye window. He needs to see through something. And some little eyes. And you give him a body. And a little ninja karate suit. And of course he's got to have a belt. And then his arm comes off here. And sometimes, if it's Yukio, he likes to hold a snowman head. And then, of course, he has to have his rosy cheeks. And then to give them life, you just erase a little piece of the eye, and they get that little sparkle in their eye. And that's what I use to color. It's called Mango Studio. All right, what's the next question?
All right, next question. How did you come up with the name Yukio?
Okay, this is a really cool question. Yukio in Japanese, the language, it means snow boy. And Yukio loves the snow, so I thought it was the perfect name for him. It means snow boy.
All right, let's see if we got. That one was asking you about, you just showed us how to draw Yukio. So this is recorded, and so anytime you guys, I'll put it on our website, and you can go back and watch it and learn and watch him draw, and you can do it with him. Yeah. She said, why is one ninja white and the other ninja's black?
Okay, that's a good question. So on page 2 or 3, I don't remember. I should know, but I don't remember. It says Yukio dressed for the snow. And so Yukio is dressed for the snow, so he's wearing white because he blends in. It's like camouflage in the snow. And all the other ninjas are dressed for the shadows, which is what usually ninjas dress in. So the reason he's wearing a white ninja suit is because he's dressed to play in the snow.
She said, how did you become such a talented author and illustrator?
Practice every day. Start small and practice every day. I told you at the beginning, it's one of the most powerful things you can do.
Right. And then, were there any more on the video, Mr. Ping, that you wanted to address, or do you want me to ask a couple live questions?
We can do live questions.
Okay. Did someone here want to ask a question? All right, what you got?
Can you make Santa's Revenge?
Oh, do you want me to play that part of the video? Okay, they want me to keep going on the video because they had a couple that they were in it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna. She asked, what inspired you to make a book?
What inspired me to make a book was not having anything to do all day. When my day job went away, I had to do something, and I thought, you know what? I have all these sketches. I'm going to turn them into a book.
All right, next one. Real quick, let's see. They wanted to know if you could make the book Samurai Santa Revenge.
Oh, Samurai Santa Revenge. So I have an idea for a second book, but it's not about revenge. It's about Santa. He loses his ability to sneak around. It's important that Santa can sneak because you're not supposed to hear him come in and leave the presents. And so he has to go back to Ninja Village, and they teach him how to sneak by giving him a karate suit, and Yukio teaches him all his tricks and everything, just like the Karate Kid or one of those movies like that.
Okay, we have a couple more questions
Okay.
from Twitter real quick. They wanted one of the questions from, just one second, let me find it again. About holidays. Let's see. That was one of them. One of them said, why do you only use 4 colors in the book?
I didn't know how much time I was going to have to make the book. Usually I use lots of color in my art, and probably too much color, to be honest. And so to keep it simple, I used 4 colors, and I think it turned out really beautiful and simple.
Another question is, what was your favorite, or what is your favorite book?
My favorite book it's a novel. It's called The Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. It's about this orphan, kind of like Harry Potter, but his name's Kvothe. And he's really good at playing the lute, and he knows magic. And I love that book.
Is that also your favorite author?
He's one of them, yeah. Patrick Rothfuss is the author, and the name of the book is called The Name of the Wind, and it's part of 3 books. I'm waiting for that 3rd book to come out, and I'm getting impatient because I really want to read it.
Another question is, are all of your books going to be about ninjas?
No, I have another book I'll share with you really quick. This is super secret. I know it's going to go on YouTube, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. So this is a book I really want to make, and I don't know if it's going to be a graphic novel or a children's book. Let me find it here. Okay, so these are the Night of the Ninja ones. And then this book, can you see that monster detective with that little girl? I want to make this book. It's a book about a little girl who loses a scarf, and so she has to go to the monster world to find it, because monsters, they still lost keys and lost remote controls and lost socks, and so he helps her around monster world to find it. And this is the detective, and here's a full color page that I want to make. And this is another thing I'm going to show Simon and Schuster and see if they want to make it with me. But I have lots and lots of ideas, more ideas than I can finish in my life.
How many days did it take you to finish the entire book, Samurai
When
Santa?
the government shut down, it was out for 3 weeks. So in about 2.5 weeks, I finished 54 pages of art because I didn't have anything to do all day. I had a lot of time to work on it and story, and then they had me cut it down to 40 pages. So I actually did more than I needed, but it took about 2.5 weeks, which I had the idea down. The hardest part about making books, guys, is coming up with an idea. Then once you have an idea set, it can go pretty fast.
Okay, we got one more. Go ahead. Really loud though.
Make a book trailer for that new one. What was
They want to know if you'll make a book trailer for your new book.
I really enjoyed making the book trailer, and so I'm going to make book trailers for all my books. I really like doing it, and so I hope I make more and get better at doing it.
We have a really great question. A 1st grader here wants to know if you are a real person.
Am I a real person? I'm actually a robot. I am. I'm a robot. I was made by Santa Claus, so he makes me make books about him, and it's a weird life, but it's the one I have. Yes, I'm a real person.
Your last name, is it pronounced Ping?
It's like pink, like the color, but with jazz hands. Pink. Yeah.
Mr. Ping, we want to tell you thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me. You guys are so awesome.
We love your book, and I think everyone here has asked to check it out a million times.
Awesome.
But we thank you, and we are looking forward to your new book.
Thank you. Have me again.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Mr. Pink.
Bye-bye.